So, I'm here in the shed this morning working on this early 90s GT Outpost, and something that struck me is a bit of a industry secret that I'm going to share with you all now about these old bikes, and that is all this old stuff, all this out of date old 90s mountain bike stuff, it still works. you can still go and have a day out in the mountains on this bike and have a brilliant time. Yet okay, it doesn't work in the same way as the modern stuff, and maybe not as efficiently as some of the modern stuff in terms of braking and things, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work and it isn't a pleasant experience. It's like saying don't drive a 1965 Mini Cooper S because the brakes and acceleration are not as good as a brand new Ford Mondeo or whatever, but the experience of driving that old Mini is far better for an enthusiast than the experience of driving a modern car. So if there was no point in riding these old mountain bikes, if they were obsolete like the industry expects you to think they are, and you have to have a 29er or a mullet to go to a trail centre, and you have to have hydraulic brakes with 200mm rotors, if that was the case, then it's the same case for classic cars. Then nobody would drive classic cars because technically they're obsolete in their technology, but the experience of driving them is fantastic. You know, there's nothing drives better than a classic Mini in my opinion. I've had a few in my time and they're just superb. You know, they're not modern, but they still work and they're still an enjoyable experience, and this bike would still give you a massively enjoyable experience out with your mates for the day on the trails. So I'll show you a few of these outmoded things now and let the secret go that all this stuff is still fine. So first up, the biggest one of all, it's a 26-inch wheel. We've all been told now the 26-inch wheels don't work anymore and everybody needs to ride a 27.5 or a 29 for now until the next big thing comes out. But 26-inch wheels were the mountain bike standard for a very long time. And a 26-inch mountain bike still works very, very well. It'll still give you a fun day out in the hills with your mates. If you've got one in the garage, it's not going to cost you any money. You can just get it out and clean it up like I'm doing with this one now. This is like a 1993-ish, I think. And look how it's cleaning up. You know, I'm still working on it, but it's number one. 26-inch wheels still work just fine. Number two, these things. The front mech. Now, people will tell you that these are obsolete, but the range of a triple chain set for mountain biking is still flipping brilliant. It still works really well. And what you get with a triple chain set is you're tootling along in this gear here, say in the middle ring, and you need to drop down for a hill. Instead of dropping down all those gears at the back, you can just chuck down the front chain ring to the baby chain, the granny ring, and give yourself a huge drop in gear ratio immediately. Yes, I know it's not as cool as one by, and it's not as state of the art, and you know, but these like 7-8 speed chains last way longer than your 1x chains ever gonna. They're cheaper to replace and it still works. As long as you're not caring about what people think about what you're riding, it still works. What else have we got on this old MTB that still works? Well, the drivetrain itself, the 7 and 8 and 9 speed transmissions. You know, there's some of the sturdiest transmissions available. By the way, a nice old Suntour rear mech there. Some of the sturdiest transmissions available. You know, the chains last so much longer, the cassettes last so much longer. They're very robust. So if you're on a budget, it's not, you know, there's no reason not to ride something with a 7, 8 or 9 speed transmission. That 26-inch front wheel there, that's 20 odd years old, is still spinning, by the way. On its non-through axle hubs. Again, people say that their quick release is obsolete. Works just fine. You've got to work with what you've got. You know, not everybody's got a £5 grand budget to go and blow on a mountain bike that's going to be the latest and greatest for the next 18 months until you get told that's obsolete because something new's come out. What else have we got? Rim brakes. These are Canties. Still work, still do the job. You know, they're not like hydraulic disc brakes, they're never going to be. But as I say, the discs on your classic car are not like your modern car, but it doesn't stop you getting enjoyment from using it. And the same goes for this. External cables, so much easier to work on than all this internally routed stuff. Just an absolute joy from a mechanic's point of view, external cables. So manufacturers do still run them, but I know a lot of stuff's gone internal, and up in the headset here things get really complicated with cable routing and stuff. It's a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, external cables still do the job. And what else have we got? Well, the material. This is a a steel bike, and you know, a lot of modern bikes now are made of carbon fibre and things like that, but the steel still works, the chromoly still works as a material. It's a very, very rideable bike. It's a Tanguay tube set on this one. Yeah, so my point is anyway, this supposedly obsolete machine, once I finish doing this on it, you know, this bit of work on it now just to revitalise it, I'm going to take it out for a ride and probably have a really good day out on it, because everything on it still works. It still works just like it did back in the 90s when it was a new bike. You don't have to. This all comes again from me looking at a magazine and just seeing the price of things, and it makes people think that are new to the sport that they have to spend thousands and thousands. But this will get you going. If you decide then later on, you know, you're enjoying yourself and you want to spend more money, then spend more money if you have it, if you have the means. But you could go out mountain biking on this. It's still a mountain bike. Just because it's an old mountain bike doesn't mean you can't go out and have a great day out on it. So if you've got one in the shed, a 26er, your dad's old bike, your granddad's old bike, whatever, get it out and try it. And I think you'll be really, really surprised at how much fun you can have on one of these old